Hello and welcome to On the Bench, Estuary TV's weekly sports discussion show for Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire. Coming up on the show tonight, we'll bring you a roundup of the weekend's local sporting action, and we'll be taking a look at some of the key talking points from the sports headlines. Joining us to do so, we are delighted to be joined by Grimsby Town legend Dave Boylan and local angler Peter Clayton. Later in the programme, Stu Cox has been over to the North Bank for a training session with the Hull Lacrosse Club, and Stu Cox is also here to answer your questions in a view from the estuary. Stay tuned for all of that. First up, let's round up the weekend's scores. Here's Team Talk. Scunthorpe United have extended their unbeaten run to 21 games with a 2-0 win over Plymouth. Whilst just down the road, late goals from the skipper Craig Disley and sub Andy Cook got Grimsby back to winning ways with a 3-1 win over Wrexham. Hull City didn't fare so well, going down 2-0 to a 10-man Manchester City side. In the Conference North, North Ferriby took all 3 points with a 2-1 win over Worcester. And elsewhere in the region, Grimsby Borough lost 3-2 at home to Dinnington Town, and Barnetby United lost 2-1 to New Holland. In the men's hockey, Kingston upon Hull seconds beat Grimsby firsts. And in basketball, Hull Wasps got the result they were hoping for as Gateshead Phoenix beat Kingston Panther 76-75, meaning that Hull finished second and secure a spot in the playoffs, facing Newcastle-under-Lyme College Knights this weekend. Thanks again to those clubs who sent us their results this week. If you'd like your club's results featured in Team Talk, simply email us at onthebench@estuary.tv. Let's just pick up on a few of those results with our guests now. Cracking win for Grimsby, closing in on the playoffs, Dave. So, are they in a strong position this season right now?
Well, I think, to be perfectly honest, now that we're out of the FA Vars and we've got a clear picture now of how far to go, we've got about 12 games left or 13, whichever it may be, and we can concentrate on just getting back into the top 4 or 5, so at least we can get in the playoffs. Yeah,
we mentioned before the show that 4 of the teams above us, we're playing them. They're effectively our games in hand, so it's still in Grimsby's hands.
It's still all in Grimsby's hands. It's all down to the players now. Me as an ex-player, I kick every ball with them, watching them, and I can see what's going through their minds. They've got to concentrate on, because they'll hardly be training. It'll be Saturday and Tuesday or Wednesday. So every footballer wants to play in a game rather than train.
So you think with a small squad, fatigue is going to be a massive issue?
Oh, I would like them, if it's possible, right, to actually keep a steady nucleus of about 15, 16 players and not having too many changes every week, you know what I mean? I think that's been a bad thing with us, to be honest, not having a settled side. But then again, we've had injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And players, they soon lose their mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The players have got to have a lot of confidence, believe it or not.
They're only human at the end of the day,
yeah,
obviously.
They are.
I mean, Peter, what do you think fatigue and tiredness affects players?
It's got to in the amount of games that they play throughout the season, so this is getting to the crunch time where they want to be.
Yeah, obviously it's quite tough mentally as well. Yeah. Thinking they've got all these games, how are we going to cope? They must have some faith in the manager. And they're thinking he's got to pick the right team as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, he certainly picked the right substitutes to come on Saturday because we were 1-1 and we were struggling to get in the game. In the last 10, 15 minutes, 2 lads came on. Cookie was one of them. He's a lad who I rate very highly, but he's lost a bit of his confidence, and he scored, and it made a difference, So he's got to stay in the side, for tomorrow night's game,
So a good weekend for Grimsby Town. Turning our attention to Scunthorpe as well. It was a great weekend for them. Yeah. 21 games unbeaten now. That's a feat for any side. Yeah. So it's great for local sides. How can you see their season carrying on from now? I mean, they're a point off top spot. Surely that's got to be, a great position. You couldn't ask for more, really.
Well, I think they'll get promotion. I really do. I saw them play against Town, and to be honest, Ryan Law's got the sack not long after, after we went and beat them at their place, and I think it was a game after. But I could see that they were a decent side. And the person who I work with, he's a strong Scunthorpe, goes to most of the games, and he was telling me that Scunthorpe, if they don't go up this year, they'll miss out. Do you know what I mean?
I think they've got a new ground on the way up there as well.
That's what he was saying.
So obviously the ambition is there. I mean,
exactly.
Peter, do you think that new ground is going to draw more fans in and push them up to League One?
I think it will do, yeah. I mean, everybody nowadays wants a nice new stadium and the facilities that go with it. So if they've got that and promotion this year.
Well, in recent years, Doncaster and Hull have got new stadiums.
Yes,
Yeah, and look
Swansea.
where they are. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
the
looking
way-
great
the
for
way
those.
he's upwards.
Swansea.
We'll turn our attention to Hull now as well. Obviously, the Man City game at the weekend. Despite 10 men, they couldn't get the 3 points. But I think the main talking point was the penalty incident. Did you see that?
I saw it, yes, and well, it was unbelievable, wasn't it? What can you say about that? I mean, officials now. Well, I quite rate the officials in the Premier League, definitely do. But just reverting back to ours a little minute, I think they're the worst officials I've ever seen in our level.
We'll talk about that as well again soon, Dave, I'm sure. Next up on the show, Stu Cox is here to answer your questions that you've been tweeting in. Here he is in A View from the Estuary.
Thanks, Tom. It feels good to be back. Let's take the first question. Realistically, where can you see Grimsby Town finishing this season? Well, I think realistically for Grimsby, with all the games in hand, they've only played 33 games. Other teams around them, like Halifax, have played 37. They've got level on points now with the playoffs, and with these 4 games in hand, that's 12 points to play for. And on top of that as well, Alfreton have been deducted 3 points in the last couple of weeks because of an ineligible player who they played in a previous game. You look at Luton, they're running away with the title at the moment. They're scoring goals for fun when they're playing well, and even when they're not playing so well, they're picking up points, and that is title form. Also, Cambridge are having a bit of a blip at the moment, but form in the past has made them where they are, and they look comfortable for second place. Are Scunthorpe United genuine promotion contenders? Well, you look at the recent form, a record 21 games unbeaten under Russell Wilcox. They've got some really good players who they've brought back to the club in recent months, like Paul Hayes, Marcus Williams. They've also got Hakeeb Adelakan, the young 17-year-old who's up for Apprentice of the Year in League Two as well. So it's all good for Scunthorpe. They're currently second, just off the top on goal difference. And if they can continue this form for the rest of the season, then who knows? But 21 games unbeaten, that is genuinely championship form, not just promotion form. And the teams around them as well, like Chesterfield, one slip up from them and it could go Scunthorpe's way, the way they're carrying on. What punishment would you give Joe Hart after the incident at the KC on Saturday? Well, you look at how the game panned out. Man City had Company sent off after just 10 minutes because of what can only be described as a rugby tackle on Nikiki Jelavic. Also, the goal as well, 2-0. Boyd, when he came on as sub, though, I think many people were debating the penalty decision. Was it a penalty, wasn't it? For me, it wasn't, but Joe Hart should never have gone in feet first, no goalkeeper. It's a golden rule that goalkeepers go in with their hands and not the feet. You saw it in the derby, Manchester United v Liverpool as well, when Sturridge took a dive. That was the similar type of thing, but the penalty wasn't given. Joe Hart is England's number one. It wasn't the way to go about things. His kids' idols. He's playing for England. He's off to the World Cup in the summer and is doing things like that. But a 3-match ban, possibly for Joe Hart for spitting, that is wrong. George Boyd, possibly the maximum fine he can get for inciting Joe Hart in what he actually did. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for your questions. If you have a question that you want us to answer, then you can get in contact on Twitter at AskEstuary or email onthebench@estuary.tv.
Thanks, Stu. If you want to send in your questions, that Twitter address again is @onthebenchtv. We've got to go to a break now, so we'll see you again in a few minutes. Welcome back to On the Bench. We're joined in the studio by angler Peter Clayton and newly appointed Honorary Ambassador for Grimsby Town, Dave Boylan. Dave, tell us a bit more about what your role entails.
Well, what it actually means is that I've got a say in different things that take place at the Grimsby Town Football Club. I'm highly delighted to be nominated, and the first time it's ever happened, as an ambassador to the football club. what it basically means is that I would like to help with the youth development, because I think it's imperative that Grimsby Town do get young lads coming through, because we can't compete with all the other clubs who spend absolutely millions on foot, even at our level.
Yeah. So I mean, how do you plan to achieve this then?
Well, if I get to know, because I'm an ex-youth worker as well, right? So I've got a lot of connections in the youth industry, and I'd like to join with the team that we've got now at Grimsby Town, and I'll be available most Saturdays, right? So I can go and watch games, and I can take on board what these young lads are like.
Do you think there's many stars in our youth system now that you can just see sort of pushing into the first team in like seasons to come?
Well, I do. I won't like to nominate anybody because it always puts a bit of pressure on them. But I came here in '66 at the age of 17, 18, and we had a fantastic youth side, and I want us to get back to that, because we're going to be struggling to buy players, you know, ridiculous fees that they are now.
So it is vital that we sort of invest in the youth. And you think obviously getting back into the Football League is going to help that financially? And
well, it's a nightmare where we are. You know, the football is not very good at all, and we've got to get out of this league. It really have, and it'll benefit everybody all round. I
guess that comes down to a new stadium again as well. Investment in that,
well,
obviously, you can invite more fans in.
Well, I have to say I'm an ex-councillor, and I have to say this, hopefully, that there might have been a change of opinion by the council to get on board with this, because look at the other teams that have done it.
Yeah.
Doncaster, Swansea, you know, there's loads of them, and they've all got the council on board.
And look where them sides are now.
And look where they are now.
It's paid dividends for them.
Yeah, of course it is. And hopefully, you know, that the main director, John Fenty, he's still a councillor, he's a Conservative councillor, so he's trying his best, I know he is, right? And it's imperative that we do get the support of the local council, it really is.
Yeah, obviously you've been heavily involved with the club anyway, so this new role, does it give you a bit more freedom then to sort of input?
Well, hopefully I can make suggestions, whereas before, when they didn't have a title, you know, they've welcomed me open hands, and I'm quite, you know, I'm quite pleased about it, and I will get involved in quite a few things. I'm just taking it on board now, what it actually means, if you understand what I'm saying.
Obviously you spent, I think, 12 years with the club as well.
Well, so I did. I played nearly 400 games.
Got faith in your word, I suppose.
Yeah.
So we'll just leave that there now for Dave, and then we'll catch up again. Next up on the programme, Stu Cox has ventured across the Humber for a training session with the Hull Lacrosse team. Take a look at this to see how he got on.
You might think of North America if I mention lacrosse, but I'm not in North America. I'm on the North Bank, where it is a growing craze. I'm here at Hull Lacrosse Club, and I'm going to learn my cradling from my cutting. Two very different things, I'm told. We've actually found the founder of Hull Lacrosse Club, Gareth. Tell us, what is lacrosse?
Lacrosse is a North American sport originally, started by North American Indians in around the 17th century. It's been played predominantly in North America throughout most of its history, but in the late 19th century it started being played in the UK. Started off in Greater Manchester, and over the course of the last 20 or so years it started to spread its wings with more clubs in Yorkshire and Lincolnshire.
And is it growing as a sport in the UK?
Yeah, it's been played mostly by private girls' schools. That's what people most commonly associate it with. It's been played in them throughout the entire time it's been in the UK. The men's side is very much club-based, not very much school lacrosse, but the club's great. The club game and the university game especially is starting to grow across the entire UK now.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Gareth. Right, let's go pick that stick up. Time to get stuck in with the team now.
Okay, which is attack and defence. So we're going to do 4 on 4.
Yeah.
You're going to be one of the 4 in attack. Dean's going to tell you what you're going to do to begin with, and then we'll go into it, alright?
Wow, what an evening. And if you are looking at starting up a sport, then why not start up Lacrosse, Hull Lacrosse Club? Just get in contact with Gareth. He's your man. I've learnt some things, my cutting and my cradling, and I'll certainly look at doing this in the future.
Thanks to the lads at the Hull Lacrosse team for having him along. Finally on the show, let's turn our attention to our other guest, angler Peter Clayton. Peter, tell us a bit about yourself and the events that you stage at the lakes.
But yeah, the fishing lakes are part of our business at Peakstop Farm, and we're currently running fortnightly matches at the lakes which are open to anybody to join in. Hopefully as the weather improves and the summer comes along, we're going to make them a bit more frequent.
It's the right time of the year already.
Yeah, and even run some evening matches as well when the weather
So,
is better.
you know, what kind of fishing is on offer? Is there a big variation in fishing?
Yeah, it's the general type of fishing is coarse fishing. There's different species within that, and one of the ponds is geared just towards match fishermen. So there's a lot of fish in there, and hopefully they're relatively easy to catch.
You've been fishing a long time yourself then. Like, what's your background in the sort of the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I've been fishing right from probably about 10 years old, I think, when I got into it with my father, and it's just grown from then. And luckily enough now, I sort of run my own fishing ponds, which is kind of...
So would you class yourself as a pro fisherman then?
I wouldn't say I'm a pro, no.
Yeah.
No. There's a lot of other people that come that are a lot better.
So do
than
you compete?
Me. I do compete, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of success lately, but it's taking part that counts, I think.
Oh yeah, I suppose it is. Well,
Yeah.
what's been your biggest achievement then when you have been competing?
I got to the national level with a junior team.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we didn't get in the prizes, but it's a good experience. I mean, I used to travel around a lot more in those days, fishing different venues throughout the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Dave, have you ever thought about getting hold of a rod and going fishing?
I did actually, because they reckon it's good for you to relax. That's what they reckon, but I ain't got the patience, to be honest. I'm afraid not, no.
Yeah, I guess from the outside looking into the sport, it's class. You know, people see it as boring, but I mean, does a lot go into it? Is there a lot of skill involved?
There
Or
is
it
now,
just-
yeah. I mean, the tackle and everything has moved on. I mean,
Mm.
people spend thousands of pounds on one rod or one pole, so it is
Yeah.
quite technical, and there's a lot more that goes into it now.
So
Yeah.
when people come and fish, after they bring their own equipment, do you supply that or?
No, we don't supply any equipment. It's purely your own gear that you bring.
Yeah.
We just provide the venue for people to fish at. Yeah.
So if people watching want to come along and fish with you, I mean, how would they go about that?
Well, they can either contact Tony Burnham through the angling page in the Grimsby Telegraph. His contact details are on there each week, or they can contact me through Peakstop Farm website.
And anyone can come. So
Yeah.
even myself as a beginner, you know, a pro
yeah,
can
yeah,
come
we
down.
welcome anybody. As I say, the next one is this Sunday coming. Anybody's welcome. It's open to all. Yeah.
So it's a fortnightly thing. So
Yeah.
I can come along to the next session, and you know, I won't have to have any skills.
No, I can't guarantee you catch anything. But
Well, yeah.
you can-
So is that basically how you win when you compete? You just, you know, the collective weight.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 6-hour competition, and the winner is the person that catches the most fish in terms of weight over
Oh,
those 6 hours.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
Dave, thank you very much. Well, that's all we have for this week. Thanks to our guests, Peter Clayton and Dave Boylan. And thanks again to the Hull Lacrosse team. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place. Goodbye.